Hello and welcome back to everyone that's tuned in to the American Ultra Stock channel. I'm so sorry for the environment right here. I'm at a parking lot, but we decided to do this raw reaction of the game. I mean, the USMNT never fails to deliver disappointment, do they? So if you're tuning in, we appreciate you still being interested in the national team. Braden, unfortunately, we lost. Unfortunately, it's another bad chapter of Poch's tenure. I'll have you take it away. And what were your immediate reactions were after that? Because we had some names that people always ask for. We had some new names, some very questionable ones made appearances as well. Thoughts on it? I'm curious to see what you think. The first thing, and once the ref blew the final whistle, what was going through your mind?
Yeah, honestly, I think the performance as a whole, I think there's a lot of maybe negative points that you can look to. The performance as a whole really was not that bad. I thought we were honestly the better team. We controlled possession. We kept trying to build it out of the back, which it worked sometimes. There was one attack that was really beautiful build out that led to Luna driving at the defense, and then ultimately Malik Tillman missed a header from right in front of the goalkeeper, which really should have been put away. But overall, we had the chances to win the game. We just ultimately lost because of a really horrible defensive mistake from Johnny. Well, I'm sure we'll get to that. And then just an overall horrible effort on the second goal defensively. There was no communication between the two center backs. But if you look at the match as a whole, the full 90, I thought for the most part we were better. There's some positives, obviously. You see the jersey behind me. I'm sure Jack McGlynn, what a goal to get things started. A minute into the game, I'll say it again. He has the best left foot in the pool by far. That's why he's here. He's truly a specialist. I mean, that left foot can do anything. So it was nice to see that. But outside of that, I mean, I'm sure we'll get into more specifics, but it really wasn't that bad. It's just frustrating that we're losing games like this due to one or two just catastrophic mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think that the performance, if it was under different circumstances, if this was against a better national team, no disrespect to Turkey, they are a solid team themselves. But I feel like at this stage of the project, if you want to call it that, I think that we need to start looking at results as well and not just performances. And ultimately, we failed to deliver results. And that's very frustrating because I agree with you. We had the chances, and Johnny himself, I'll say some people think I have a vendetta against the guy, but he created two chances. And married to him, he did create two good chances before the mistake. Catastrophic again, but it seems to be the case of his USMNT career. But we had the volume to perhaps at least get a draw. I feel like that would have been the fairer result. I don't even know if we deserve it or not. Maybe I'm biased, but I feel like it wasn't all that bad on the performance. But I'm very concerned with the lack of results. Really, the results have been shambolic under Poch. If this was Greg again, don't want to keep on going back to that, but we would be calling for his public execution at this point. We probably would. It's absolutely insane. I feel like the rosters have gotten worse, the lineups have gotten worse. We don't have a play style, but more on that later when we review this as a whole. On the first half, like you said, and I mentioned some chances that we had a lapse in concentration. I don't know if you want to call it that. And I see some people trying to sugarcoat it, but it did change the game on its head because we got the perfect start. We got to go with Jack McGlynn, and I'll say it, this guy needs to leave MLS. Him, Luna, more on that later. But on the first half as a whole, Brayden, if you had to say the main things that happened, what caught your eye the most and your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, of course, the goal from Jack McGlynn. It's the best start to a game we've had in a really long time with USMNT, and it had me optimistic for the first time in a while, honestly, because we started the game so well. I've never seen us start like that. Usually, the first 10 minutes is just dormant and lull you to sleep. Maybe some of that was the Greg ball that we were playing previously. But really good start, good find by Malik Tillman as well. He'll get credit for the assist. On him in particular, I do think as a 10, I think he probably should have been a little bit more involved in the attack. But I will say his defensive work rate was really, really good. In the first half in particular, he was making tackles everywhere. He was doing more defensive work than Luca de la Torre or Johnny Cardoso, who are the two that were supposed to be more defensive minded of the midfielders. Of course, Johnny as a natural six and Luca as a box to box. Luca as well, I thought he did a good job maybe dictating possession, but going forward, there was really nothing. I can't think of a moment where he actually pushed forward in the first half. The second half, he did a little bit better of that. He had a couple of nice dribbles, but I think that was good from Tillman. Alex Freeman, I think this is more of an overall game thing, but defensively, especially for his debut, he was really, really solid. I think in possession and going forward, I would have liked to see a little more. I think in particular, the first few times he got on the ball, he looked a bit nervous, but considering this was his debut, he was going up against Kenan Yildiz. I think we all know how much quality that guy has from Juventus. He did an excellent job defensively, won duel after duel, and I think that's something really positive to build on. Other than that, there's not really much. Diego Luna wasn't as involved as I would have liked. Part of that was because he kept trying to find Ajimang, the hold-up man, the target man, and his first shot, his first touch, his control is just, it's really bad, honestly. Like, he has the big body, and there were a few moments where he used his size well, but ultimately, he just doesn't have the touch and the quality to be playing at this level. I think we can all realize it by now. The only reason he started this game, by the way, is because it took place in his hometown of East Hartford, Connecticut. It's a great story and all his incredible rise, but he should be done with USMNT. He just doesn't have the level required. The final thing that I want to say from the first half, because we mentioned the Johnny mistake, and I think you're probably going to go more into that. And then the second goal, I think, was just a lack of communication between Richards and Robinson in particular. I think that center back duo really doesn't work. And I do feel a little bad for Robinson because Max Arston at left back, he kept going forward, and I will say he was the only one in the first half, really, besides McGlynn, who actually tried to drive forward and create something. Most of the time it didn't work, and then when it didn't, Turquie got the ball back, and then he didn't track back. He was walking, he was jogging, he wasn't showing the effort to get back, which left Miles as the only one on that left-hand side. And listen, I don't like the guy, but you have to feel bad for him because there's not a lot he can do in that situation, because as a one versus an entire side of the field, you can't cover all that space, and I think that's something that needs to be looked at tactically, that needs to change. But overall, that's what I thought of the first half.
Yeah, solid analysis. I agree with you. I mean, I do feel bad for Miles Robinson. I don't want to see guy anywhere near the national team, to be honest, again, but it is, I'm not going to say melancholic farewell to him, because I don't think it will be. I think he'll still get called up. Hey, he might even be at the World Cup, but he was getting exposed by Arston. But let's take a second right here and think. We are practically a year away from the World Cup, and we're starting Luca de la Torre, Ajimang. When are we going to start being this handout national team? Ajimang gets to start because it's in his hometown. I don't care. The guy shouldn't even be there. It's absolutely insane. And then on the further delusion of some people saying that, hey, but he's young. He's young. So what? You know, it's not like the guy has that much talent. And then on the mistake by Johnny, again, I don't want to be too harsh right here, but time and time again, he costs us every time he plays. Every time he plays. I honestly want to find someone that gives me a good Johnny performance with the USMNT. Please tell me. I'll go watch it. Absolutely. Canada. Our first loss to Canada in home soil in what, 1,000 years? What is it? It's just absolutely ridiculous. Against Colombia, every time he's on the pitch for us, he costs us. And then some people want to say it's not on him. How is it not on him? It's unbelievable. How is it not on him? It's insane. And then we are the most sugar-coating fan base ever. It's absolutely insane how they say that, hey, it's not on him. But you know what? It's fine. 3 months from now, sorry for the spoiler, everyone. Sorry for spoiling it. 3 months from now, he's going to score against a Granada type of club, and everyone's going to be glazing Johnny Cardozo, saying how amazing he is. Because that's how we are. We are the that doesn't care about so pat on the back. It's okay. Hey, next camp, maybe we'll get the best out of him. That's how we go. That's how we do things around here. And then that brings us to the second half. I think that the biggest disappointment on that second half was Poch. I'm curious to see what you think, Brandon, if you think that his subs were bad tactically, if he did enough to change things around. I'm really honestly, I don't know what to make of that second half because ultimately I feel like we sort of deserved a little bit more. What do you think?
Yeah, sorry for the viewers if you're cut out a little bit there. Obviously, as you can see, he's not in the best of spots for Wi-Fi, but we appreciate him trying to make it work and get the video out immediately. I actually kind of disagree with you. I think that the subs in general were pretty good. If you look at the first ones, obviously coming at halftime, bringing on Mark McKenzie for Miles Robinson, bringing on Tyler Adams for Johnny Cardoso. Obviously, we know Johnny made the huge mistake for the goal. That's a no-brainer. Bringing on your captain. I think we all know Tyler Adams should have started. I think the starting lineup, I have a lot more questions for Poch than I do in terms of the subs. I think that's really where he got it wrong. The subs, he was really rectifying his mistakes, like we've seen actually from Greg in the past. I think that's one thing that Greg did well was make the right subs at times, and in particular Aronson and Pepe, going back to some of those games where they bailed us out. But then obviously we know Adam should have been on there. He should have been the captain. He should be the captain going forward in every game. McKenzie needs to be partnering Chris Richards in every single game possible because that is our center back duo for the 2026 World Cup, whether you like it or not, because honestly, it's still not the strongest, but the drop off after those two is ridiculous. And I think you could see immediately defensively, we were so much more solid once those two came on. And even though Arsene was still kind of doing the same thing on the left, until he came off, really, McKenzie did a lot better of a job, I think, covering than Miles Robinson did. So I liked those two changes. Then you go to the three that he made in the 65th minute. Haji Wright, I think not necessarily everything that he did came off, but he came on and made an impact. He was actually running at people. I think, honestly, he produced more than Diego Luna did, which maybe is a little bit harsh, but I think he provided the right sort of energy. I think he probably should have been one to start maybe up top instead of Ajimong. Quinn Sullivan came on. I thought he was really good. For some reason, FontMob heavily disagrees with me. They gave him a bad rating, but I don't see it. I think every time he got the ball, he was threatening forward. He was really the only one in the entire 90 minutes that showed us any little bit of wing play at all. He was constantly going at defenders. He created one chance towards stoppage time, actually, that ended with a botched, I don't remember who it was actually that ended up botching the final pass, but he was dribbling at defenders, cutting inside, going to the byline and getting crosses in. I thought every time he touched the ball we threatened, so maybe he's one who needs to look to start against Switzerland. That was one of the few positives for me. Nathan Harriel, listen, I love the guy for the Philadelphia Union, but he should not be at the national team stage. I think it's kind of crazy how he came on for Tolkien. The one thing that I will note about Harriel coming on is we saw in the first half, like I mentioned, Arston was going forward a lot, and it's kind of what we saw with the main team when Scally plays kind of as a right center back and Jedi pushes forward. It was kind of like that with Freeman going in the Scally role, Arston doing the Jedi role. It flipped to the other side once Harriel came on, and it got Freeman a lot more involved in the attack. And I think Freeman and Sullivan down the right side created a lot. So that's the one good thing I will say about subbing on Harriel. But his performance as an individual, not great. And then the final sub, Brian White. I think it's ridiculous how you're bringing on Brian White instead of Damian Downs, needing a goal, especially in a friendly that doesn't really mean much. Why not give your young guy with potential who's unproven, give him a chance to prove himself? Honestly, it's ridiculous that it took Ajimong 75 minutes before he came off. He was probably the worst player on the pitch besides Johnny for us, but that's really all I have to say. I think we were better in the second half. I think we created chances, like I said, Quinn Sullivan being at the main part of most of that. Of course, there was that one I referenced earlier where Tyler Adams, it was that huge beautiful build-up play. Adams ends up getting the ball off of Jack McGlynn, blocked shot, goes wide, chips it in, great cross for Tillman. You have to score that header from blank range. But at the end of the day, we created the chances. I think maybe if we had a better striker in the majority of the game, maybe we could have done something. Imagine if Balogun was here. Imagine if Pepe was here. I think it would have been a lot different. So you have to put that into perspective. But overall, those are my thoughts on the second half.
I agree with you. I mean, again, this is very reactionary because we're doing it right after the game. Didn't even cross my mind about the earlier subs, which I agree with you. They put things in the right place. I think they were kind of obvious subs, so I'm not going to give Bosch too much credit there. I mean, they picked themselves. Some people were saying, look, he has a tactical knowledge mid-game. Anyone would have done that mid-game. I mean, it's pretty obvious. If you don't, I'm sorry. But, I will say, if that's PSV Tillman, he puts it in the back of the net. I don't know what happens, what sort of spell they are under, these players that for whatever reason with the national team, whatever coach it is, opposition level, just can't perform. And you know what? I will say that Quinn Sullivan, for a guy that doesn't get hyped, he, like you said, he's known as Kevin's brother. He did well, and the guy showed a lot of passion. And I feel like at this moment, with this coach specifically, any ounce of passion that we can get, we'll take it. And I will say as well, I like the little switch where Freeman got a little bit more free to go to the attack. It worked better. Harrio, I mean, this is why I go back to Poch. I mean, I don't want to be, disgracing a guy that he's young. He got called up. It's not his fault. If they call me up, I'll go as well. It's not the guy's fault. But when Poch says that players like Tolkien didn't get called up because there are players in MLS at the same level, and Ariel's one of them, I have to pinpoint to the coach, you are being a dumbass. No other word. This is a guy that misses press conferences to coach speed and YouTubers. So, and I will say he's probably licking his lips to go back to Spurs. If they call him tomorrow, I'm really curious. Would he turn it down? I'm not so sure. But back to the game, I know I'm straying away from it. I agree with you. We had the volume, and I will say we did enough to at least tie the match. We weren't clinical finishing, but we can't deny that we did enough, and we had a better second half than the first one, I think. Bar the catastrophic mistake that Johnny did and the lapse in concentration, we could have easily won that game. But at this stage, I'm really disappointed. One with the fan base, at least maybe I'm talking to the wrong people, man. Maybe it's not everyone like this, but I'm disappointed with the lack of results. I feel like performances are not really it at the moment. We need to look at results as well. We need to build upon something. And on that note, I want to leave it. We're obviously going to do a full analysis of the camp. Hopefully things are better against Switzerland and we're going to be more positive. And sorry for crashing out again. Just want to apologize for that. But I feel like we don't really put standards. And part of the reason why these players don't perform for us is because they don't have that fire on their ass that, hey, I need to perform. I need to have some urgency here. Because why? 3 months from now, I score against Granada. No one cares. So I feel like that's on the fans as well. We keep on glazing these guys. And then when they show these performances, there are still people defending them. So when is the passion going to come into play? They don't need to be passionate. They can do whatever. People are not going to criticize anyways. We're the sugarcoaters. But then moving on to the game. Like, I completely agree with you. Not much more to be said there. I just want to leave a question right here. Do you think there were any big winners from this match that you would like to see? You mentioned a couple of them that you would like to see play against Switzerland, get the start. What do we need to do against Switzerland? Do you think the emphatic win, a big result, or performance? I'm curious to see, what do you want to see out of that next match?
Yeah, I'll pick a few winners. The first one has to be McGlynn. Even aside from the goal, he was really the only one in the first half in particular who was actually trying to create anything and doing it successfully. He got several shot attempts off after that. Most of them went over the bar, but wasn't like they were like crazy, like out of the stadium, going to Rosie, anything like that. It was like just barely over. Like he was still getting good contact on the ball every time he shot. And the fact that he has that confidence to keep shooting, I mean, I'm sure the goal helped, but even after a couple misses, he keeps going at it, he keeps getting into threatening situations. I think he's the big winner from this game. I'd love to see him start the next match. Admittedly, I was even questioning a little bit whether he should have started this one, but I think his stock absolutely rose the highest from this game. Tillman as well, I think he did well. Obviously, he got the assist for the goal, which will boost his rating a little bit when it wasn't all that of an assist, but he made the right pass at the end of the day. I think he did that a few times. And again, his defensive work rate, it's something that we never really see from Gio Reyna when he's in the 10 role. So it was a nice, I guess, bonus there. I think his stock definitely went up. McKenzie as well, and I guess Tyler Adams, but I think we already know what Tyler Adams is by now. McKenzie came on and our defense instantly got so much better. Coming in for Robinson. So I'd love to see him and Richards paired as a center back duo for the full 90 against Switzerland. Hopefully we can have that. Outside of that, is there really anyone? I think Quinn Sullivan showed some stuff off the bench, but is it enough to get the start? Considering that the guy he came on for was Jack McGlynn, who scored the goal. Maybe not. Maybe you move some people around to fit him in, but maybe his role is as a super sub, and I think that's something that he could be effective as because he has the engine, he has the energy, he has the pace, the drive to attack. maybe that's the role that's best for him. But I think those are really the only guys that I can look to and say, look, you guys had a really good game. This boosts your stock. I need to see you against Switzerland. Other than that, I'd like to see some big changes. Tolkien should come in at left back. I would like to see Freeman keep his spot at right back. Actually, I think there was something to build on there. Chris Brady should get a look in goal. Nothing that Freese did was wrong per se. He made one good save. The goals weren't his fault, but I think we owe it to Brady to give him a chance. Uh, Luna, I don't really know. I'd like to see Paxton Aronson get a chance at some point, whether it's on the wing, at the 10, even in the double pivot. He can play anywhere. Just give him a chance. He's more talented than most of these guys.
I will say I didn't talk about him. I just noticed, but I was very disappointed with Luna. Thought the first touch was absolutely abysmal for a guy of his quality. And I think it's fair to say the first time he plays for us against some decent opposition, didn't do well. This is why he needs to leave the league. And McGlynn, like you said, big winner. I think the biggest winner out of today. Let's just put him on PEDs, some steroids, so he bulks up a little, gets a little bit more, muscular strength to be a little bit faster, more agile on the feet, and we have a great player in him. So I'm calling it now. USSF, Dynamo, make the connections, put the guy on some steroids, leave him off the competitions for about 6 months, get him back in. He's not going to test positive, and it would change his build completely. I'm a visionary. I would do that, honestly. And I think that overall, I just feel like we're a bit of a joke, really. And the biggest thing I want to leave this off with asking you guys in the comments: are you still in the same point, in the same level of commitment with the national team that you were a year ago? Because I feel like this is the biggest negative from Poch's tenure, is a lot of people being more disconnected. And we don't really even know the locks for rosters, for lineups, but not for the good reasons that, hey, everyone's doing well, it's up for grabs. No, it's just because it's a mess. There's no standards all around. Hopefully we're on to better things. It's a wake-up call for Poch. If he wants to go back to Spurs, leave tomorrow, bro. I'll drive it to the airport somehow. We need, I just feel like we have no structure. But I want to ask you guys in the comments, am I being too reactionary? Obviously, Braden was more sensible, and our analysis of the match in itself, I thought, was pretty fair. Curious to see if you guys see things a little bit different. Saw some people criticizing Tillman. I can see that as well. But leave a like, share with your friends, comment down below. We'll do our best to respond, and we'll see you next time.